thought into this, or because I'm standing here talking and I can do whatever I want to, or both. So we have three guests with us today. You gentlemen may emerge. I should be like jog out here. We've got Mr. Mike Turner, who is known far and wide for his label Happy Birthday to Me Records, and from the promotion standpoint, Mike is the man behind Athens Pop Fest, which has gone from a little bitty thing that a few people knew about to a thing that the other day I was driving down the bypass and elbowed the person next to me and pointed up without a pencil that, check that out, and it is a billboard on the side of the highway for the Pop Fest. We have Will Donaldson, who is a man about town promoter, who is promoting the Next to Last Fest. It's coming up here. It's a pretty interesting concept. And as the most relieved man in Athens, because I originally told him he was going to speak for an hour, now it's like, a half an hour with a few other people roped into doing this. Promoter and general roustabout, Mr. Mercer West. So let's hear it for these three guys. We're going to start with Mercer, because we had kind of planned on doing this, and then these two fellows here are going to pipe up as desired or as questioned by anybody. Don't be sneaking off now. So Mercer, let's get going here.
Hey y'all.
Hey.
How's everybody doing? Everybody?
Great.
Cool. Well, I brought a video so I wouldn't have to talk about myself too much, and hopefully y'all have lots of questions for me. Basically, I've been putting on shows for about 5 years in Athens. I graduated college in 2004. With absolutely no interest in music whatsoever. And then I started throwing house parties in my basement. Pretty soon after that, a place called The Secret Squirrel. And probably hundreds of parties later, I'm talking for you now. And do lots of booking all over town. I do all the booking at Farm 255 and Go Bar. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But I do have this colorful video that I can start off with. Is there any lights? I think there are.
I think they're on that pad thing.
Lights. Whoa. I know what's going on. Okay. Cool. Hey y'all, this is Mercer West of Party Partners. Party Partners is a group of friendly folks making discovery-style entertainment for us all to enjoy. We do all sorts of stuff. We play music in all bands. We release records that we record. We even released a Christmas album. And we experiment with video. Sometimes we make music videos. We also go on tours and play shows in Athens, Georgia. Bring all of you to town and play music. I'm available for booking in Athens, Georgia, and abroad, 24 hours a day per diem every diem. And we also design our own artwork. And we screen print our own artwork too. Dang. To support we can achieve the next level, we want to share this discovery-style entertainment with as many nice folks as we can find in the whole world and beyond. Your support will help us pay for pressing limited edition vinyl for the upcoming Quiet Who's album Saddle Up, mixing and mastering, materials for eco-friendly album artwork, tape duplication, video productions, publicity and mail-outs, and offset the cost of maintaining our Discovery Festival. We would graciously accept your support if you felt inspired to help us achieve our many goals. We have a world of incentives to provide you with upon receipt of your kindly support. We can send you that personal touch. Records, tapes, VHS tapes, CDRs,
Maybe it's t-shirt, song poems, prank calls, and even downloads codes. Almost everything's handmade and of the highest quality. Choose your favorite swag from Quiet Who's, The Dream Scene, Bubbly Mommy Gun, Lord Scrummage, Mouser, Man's Trash. Your support of $15 or more will also serve as your pre-order of the new Quiet Who's 12-inch record, limited edition 300 dark black vinyl LPs due in fall of 2010. We want to keep doing it ourselves, but we can accomplish so much more together. Party partners are teaming up with Kickstarter.com to receive your support. Take a look at the prizes on your right. We will only send you your most coveted incentives. Thanks for watching and have a great time.
Okay, so I got a little bit off topic, but I feel like that would kind of get rid of some cursory information. Basically, what I started doing as throwing shows in my basement, I started playing music. I started playing in a whole lot of bands, putting on a whole lot of shows, and the more time I spent doing that, the more I realized I'd have to be creative in order to kind of find my own voice in doing that and to get other people interested in it as well. So we do things like make ridiculous videos. For example, you may have heard of this website before, Kickstarter. Is anybody familiar with that? Basically, you set a money goal and then you essentially put forward a project and you try to convince people to donate towards it so that you can reach your goals. So we do a whole lot of stuff in town, like release records and promote shows and go on tour and stuff. What better way to grease the wheels with that than with a whole bunch of money? So essentially we set up this this web page to try to trick people into giving us money. But like I said, it's a little off topic. What I'm here to talk to y'all about is promoting a local show, and y'all will be promoting your own local shows, I assume, in Nucci Space. Will everybody be doing that as a group? Cool. Well, those are some pretty good names. I see some pretty sorry names up there too. But I think y'all got off to a good start. But essentially what I want to talk to you about is what it means to have a successful local show. And there's a lot of ways to not do that, and there's a lot of ways to do that. Essentially, y'all are going to be trying to find local bands to play these shows that will bring people out on their own, and then you're going to be getting together with them, helping them promote the shows, kind of bringing a one-of-a-kind experience to people, because it's going to be Friday, it's going to be early on, it's going to be kind of hard to get people to come out to Nucci Space kind of early on, so you're going to have to do a lot of kind of creative things. So I talked to those folks like Brian about kind of setting up some shows. I think the first one is Yo Soybean. Something else? Anybody know the other band?
One Team One, you know the other band?
John King Band? Somebody who's in this class?
We had to go to a show.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so when I was getting together, I was talking to Brian about exactly what he would need to do in order to get it together. There's some really obvious stuff like flyering, Facebook invitations. Those are going to be two of the really big things that are going to be kind of the foundational, letting people know what's going on out there. In order to pick the right bands, you're going to have to do your research, which means going to see these bands before you book them, seeing if they bring people out, see if people are having fun, seeing if people are enjoying them. The worst thing you can do is trying to just help your friends out because, you know, they're your friends or something like that. You're going to really have to kind of nail everybody's ass to the wall to make sure everybody's doing their part. So what does that mean? What does that mean to y'all? What does that mean to promote a local show as of right now? How can I help fill in your knowledge gaps?
Get the word out, posters and Facebook and other networking sites.
Yeah, so networking is going to be a really big part of it. A lot of people are on Twitter. That's another big thing. That's a good way to let your friends know all at once, kind of the night of, because it's less, you know, probably like 10 years ago, you'd probably be getting people out to a show because there wasn't a whole lot going on in town. or now it's going to be where all your friends are going to be downtown and they're going to be making decisions collectively about what to do. So if you can trick all those people into coming out to your event, then you've won and you've defeated the night. So that's very important, especially since it's going to be early on. It's going to be a lot harder to get people out. So kind of appealing to the underage crowd is going to be a big thing because they can't go to as many shows, and also just starting as early as possible with talking to people directly about it, because you can put up as many flyers as you want, you can do as much promotion on Facebook, but it's really, you're going to know every single person at your show, because that's going to be what's getting to people there. It's going to be you're nagging them, you're going to be calling them on the phone, you're going to be seeing text messages, they're going to see it on Facebook, on Twitter, all that stuff. You really have to inundate them. On the other hand, there's so much marketing going on all the time, especially in this town, that too much marketing can kind of wear on people. So you have to kind of be aware of that balance. If you're going to be promoting a lot of shows in town, you kind of have to pick your battles, because if you're going to be making decisions about what people are going to see, they're going to want to trust you. So, so there's some people out there that have musical tastes, and they recommend things to people and they trust them. It's kind of the same thing with shows. If you throw one too many lousy shows or one too many shows where there's not a whole big crowd there, then you're going to kind of set a precedent, and you can shoot a hole in your boat pretty quick. So most of the shows that I've put together over the years have been kind of experimental or left of center, or just plain bad, because those are the kinds of shows that I like to go see, stuff where people are kind of uncomfortable and they don't know what's going to happen next. So when somebody goes to see one of my shows, either at a house party or at Farm to 55 or Go Bar, they kind of know what they're getting into. And a lot of people will not come to any of my shows because they know exactly what they're getting into. So that's kind of the way I prefer it, but you definitely have to be very conscious about all the decisions you're making when you're dealing with local people, because each night there's going to be probably 5 to 8 shows going on all over town, and everybody's kind of fighting over the same attendance. So you got a few groups in town. You have your college kids, which is very transient. Then you have kind of your older towny people like me, or maybe like these guys who've kind of seen it all and are a little bit harder to come out to go see stuff. And then you kind of have the adult crowd, which kind of sees things on occasion and they like to kind of support music. So you're going to be targeting all 3 of these people when you're doing these Nucci Space shows, and they each are kind of arrived at in different ways. There's going to be your particular musical people that will be very interested in who's playing the show. So when you're deciding who you want to come out to your show, you're going to have to find out what kind of bands these people want to go see. If you're talking about mainly trying to get your people in your class to come out to your show, and just ask everybody in your class what kind of bands they'd like to see. Another good way to see who's going to bring people out is to go to these clubs like the 40 Watt or New Earth on Friday or Saturday, and just see who they're booking, who's bringing people out on the weekends. A lot of these people are going to be really open to playing a university function because it's good exposure, and a lot of people are really behind the Nucci Space thing. So convincing somebody to play your party may not be as hard. Your Nucci Space benefit may not be as hard as it may seem in the beginning, but having a good name will certainly help out with that. My 2 cents on that is, if you're going to be throwing a show for Nucci Space, make it about Nucci Space and not necessarily about what else would be going on in the town, whether it be with football or with other shows. Kind of just making its own thing, and you're going to be convincing people to pay for this show because it's a benefit. So if they know it's a benefit going into it, then you're going to have a better chance that people will fork out the $5 or what have you. So yeah, those are those people. And with the older people in town, they're mostly going to be targeted with the flyers, and kind of Nucci Space has some resources that they promote their shows to, so y'all should be talking to Nucci Space about how they do it. They kind of have a particular way of doing things over there because the shows are usually all ages, and they kind of have their own publicity team. So working closely with them leading up to the show will also kind of help diversify your audience. The best shows that I've had are ones where I've kind of created a one-of-a-kind experience, so to speak. A lot of times I would have keg parties in my basement. It's really easy for interesting things to happen at a keg party, kind of memorable stuff. I've been working with a local a psychedelic light team called iGate. They did some lights for this show that I did at New Earth last week. It was Holy Fuck and Indian Jewelry, two bands over there. It was a really good show, but one of the things that kind of underscored the whole thing was there's a team of 10 people with overhead projectors and video projectors, and they had kind of the oils and stuff like that. If any of y'all have seen old Grateful Dead videos and stuff like that with the colorful oils and stuff. So they really put on kind of like a timeless light show, and getting people inside to stay and watch the bands and not get fickle and smoke cigarettes. A big part of that was having a really eye candy kind of light show, so they have an appropriate name. Other things as just, doing exactly what you say you're going to do, which is something that I'm really bad at. Having a schedule, sticking to it, making sure that everybody knows exactly where they're supposed to be when. That is a huge, huge part of it, because bands will forget, managers will forget. Everybody has to know when load-in is, when they're playing, when their set is, what they're getting, what they're eating, what they're drinking, where they're parking, all this stuff. And so it's a good idea whenever you're getting together with a group of people, whether it be your own group, with Nucci Space, with bands, it's going over everything to death beforehand so that you're not having to deal with these issues last minute. That is very important wisdom that I can impart on you. It's just being very, very open with your communication with everybody that you're getting involved with, because there are lots of ins and outs. And if you're dealing with people on a level that you have not dealt with, whether it be a booking agent or a band or something like that, there are going to be considerations that you didn't think about. So just being really open with everybody, saying what your goals are, you usually get a pretty good response from people, and less chance of people taking advantage of you, essentially. I would like somebody to ask a question. I feel like I'm just sinking up here. Yes?
My question is, okay, so we talked about some things that you've done that have gone with really successful shows you've done.
Yeah.
Tell us about some things afterwards that you realized about, you may have never had that, about the ones that bombed.
About the ones that bombed. Well, I think traditionally I would say that most of my shows have bombed by popular standards. By my standards, I think they've all been just dynamite evenings. Everybody goes home with a sour look on their face, not exactly knowing what they got themselves into for the evening. These are the kind of emotions I like to deal with in a rock show. But at the same time, I spent a long time booking Tasty World, and I book Farm 255 and Go Bar now, and lots of stuff can go wrong. When you're dealing with bigger shows, you're going to be dealing with guarantees, you're going to be dealing with writers, you're going to be dealing with changing needs of the artists. And so right when I started at Tasty World, this was about 2 years ago, before they closed, I was getting all of a sudden in a much bigger position where bands were asking for $1,000, and I didn't know if they would bring out 5 people or 200 people. And so, we had some big successes, but then we also had some spectacular failures. We had this band come over from Japan called Ghost, a really awesome psychedelic rock band who is selling venues out all over America. But the thing is, Athens, Georgia is a much different place than the rest of America. And because there's so much music here, there's not really as much incentive for people to go out and find all the underground bands and stuff like that. So we had about 25 people pay for this show that we had an $800 guarantee on. So when you put that much money down and it doesn't get paid for, you not only have to pay the extra money for the band because there's a contract, you also have to pay your production, you also have to pay for all of the publicity you did that didn't work out, and just all of the staffing, all of the needs for the night, the opening bands that wouldn't get paid, all that kind of stuff. So when dealing with big shows, a lot can go wrong, and you can realize all of a sudden that your ass is on the line for a couple $100 or something like that. And that's happened to me before. I've booked some shows that I thought would be sure things, and because I'm an independent promoter, I've had to pay for them, and that sucks. Luckily, y'all won't be doing the same thing with Nucci Space. but at the same time, you are raising money for them, so I would recommend taking it as seriously as you can, because it's a really good cause. If y'all aren't familiar with it, you can check it out on the internet, because it's an awesome resource that's been there since I got to school, and I know they've helped a lot of people, at the very least, with their band practices. So, yeah.
And we have a question from Allie.
What has been like a really creative way to promote something that you felt like has really helped promote your show?
Well, in the past we've made some YouTube videos and put those up on Facebook that were just show specific. I found that was a really good way, something like this, but that would be specific for a particular show. That was a fun way to kind of get the word out in a different fashion. Really ugly flyers, that's my favorite. Really elaborate marketing schemes that kind of collapse in on themselves. I wouldn't write that down. That's just kind of more what I traffic in. Traditionally, what I find works most with promotion is being in love with the event that you're putting on and being able to be genuine with people when you're telling them about it. There's been tons of shows that I've been putting on that I just haven't really had the heart to kind of coerce people into coming out to see, and it's showed. But then the shows that I've really gotten behind, people could kind of tell that it was something that I believed in, and it worked out a lot better. So
word of mouth,
word of mouth is essentially exactly where it's at. If you're just putting up flyers, putting a bunch of stuff out to the world and not getting any feedback, then you're definitely doing it wrong. Everything you put out there should be met with an appropriate amount of feedback, so you can see exactly what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. If you're not getting anybody when you're sounding off and into nothingness, then you're probably doing something wrong. But yeah, getting a response, getting people excited about it, getting people talking about it, that's the big thing. Now there are a lot of ways that people go about getting the word out. Something like playing at the local radio station or getting a feature written in the flagpole or something like that. Those things do help, but as I'm sure Mike can attest, those things really don't matter very much at all when it comes to word of mouth. And college students are really fickle, and we don't know what you guys like. So getting a bunch of y'all together to get excited about something is usually when we're having the most success with the college kids. Yeah.
I want to know what your most successful show has been by your standards. I guess maybe just like headcount wise, and what you did to get that show. I mean, maybe you had like a huge artist come through, but I'm sure to an extent there's something that you did that boosted headcount by 50, 100, whatever.
Yeah. A lot of that kind of stuff actually happens on a bigger level. For example, I've booked this guy, Dan Deacon. He played at my house a few times. Nobody came. Then all of a sudden he started getting write-ups on Pitchfork, Rolling Stone, all these big publications. And then all of a sudden he was bringing his own draw. So I booked a house party in my basement for him. Then his record kind of like skyrocketed, that sort of thing. And so 400 something people showed up, whereas I was expecting maybe 50 because of prior shows. I had Bradford play at my house a couple times a few years ago, didn't he? You talked in this class?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Deer Hunter and the Black Lips, two pretty big Atlanta bands, came and played in 2006, and Atlanta bands weren't really known at the time for playing in Athens, so there was kind of this thing gearing up like it was going to be an Athens versus Atlanta sort of thing. And then in my basement, it was really like kind of like a high school basketball rivalry or something like that. People throwing beers at each other and a lot of hateful things being said. So that energy, although it was negative, was really terrific for the show. Getting everybody out there to be hateful and have a good time. So, but yeah, I've put on some big shows downtown, things like that. But usually one person can only do so much. It's really going to be a multitude of factors, and if somebody's on the national press scale, it's going to help a lot. But it's always good to book somebody before they get famous, and then they get famous while you're promoting their show. That works out best. Okay.
Would you say are there any wrong approaches to promoting?
Yeah, I would say that there's a lot of wrong ways to promote. I would say that just the kind of soulless inundation is kind of like a thing in the past. You know, nobody's going to come to your show because you put 1,000 flyers under people's windshields or something like that, or just put 1,000 flyers up for things that nobody have heard of. What you have to do is, if you're bringing an artist to town that you believe in, is you have to get other people to engage with that artist like you have, whether it be listening to them, getting in contact with them, essentially giving other people the same reasons that you have for getting into them in the first place. Because this town, more than anywhere else you'll go, is very, very grassroots. It seems like bands break in Athens after everywhere else in the world, and I have booking agents ask me for huge guarantees for bands that won't make $10 at a show. And so knowing that about Athens is going to be really important. And something that I really love about this town is people can smell a faker from a mile away. And if you're just kind of, you know, putting diarrhea marketing into the air and you just kind of assaulting people with show stuff, and you don't really have, you know, their ear before that, then they're not going to listen to you. And it's really going to be a matter of really connecting with just as many people as you can on that level. And always be nice. The one person you're going to be mean to is going to be the one person that's going to come back and get you. So always be as nice as possible, even if somebody's being mean to you.
When you walk into a show, what's the first, besides like when you're happy and people look confused, what's the first thing you look at? Like, is it the crowd? Is it something on the, like, what would you say that sometimes sets it apart from others?
What, a good show, you mean?
Like, when you walk in, what's the first thing that goes in your head that you're looking at or you're thinking about?
Like, for the standards of whether or not it's a good show?
Or just what makes it stand out from other shows you've been to, like when you go to your next show?
Usually it's pretty apparent if the audience knew about the bands ahead of time, and that's going to be a really big thing. You know, a lot of times you'll be booking a show with a big headliner that you're really excited about, but then there's a couple of openers that people don't know about. And so it's a really lousy thing when people are really excited about the headliner but then stand outside for the openers. So it's a matter of kind of promoting the whole show like you're excited about it, not just there's this one artist bringing a couple things. So it's basically seeing if people are engaged right when you get in there, or seeing if they're waiting around for something, because having total engagement for the entire show is what's going to make an ideal show for yourself. It's what's going to, you know, every single decision that you make regarding your show is going to be reflected in things like bar sales, which is going to be what's going to be able to, you're going to be able to bring shows back to places and things like that. So just engagement and people drinking, unfortunately, that's going to be two of the biggest things when it comes to see if a show's a success. Regrettably, I guess. And smoke machines and like strobes and stuff. So,
how big's your base? You have to party.
yeah,
How big's your base?
it's probably about this size.
400 people.
Yeah, it probably could fit.
Wow.
About that many. Maybe
Well,
maybe a little.
if there was like a stage, a cool band, and a couple of kegs in here, I guarantee you 400 people would find a way to get it.
Yeah. I was gonna bring a keg down here today, but it was. I'm glad y'all still came. I was a little nervous. I'm used to dealing with an empty room.
Should we hear what Will has to say about this?
Yeah, let me preface Will a little bit. My partner over here, we're putting together a music festival, October 27th through 31st. For y'all football fans, that's not going to really make any difference whatsoever to you. It's basically an experimental music festival that kind of covers a wide variety of what experimental music would mean. There's weird pop bands, weird rap groups, weird noise bands, weird rock and roll bands, and then a couple of normal bands too. Some of the other things we're showing a play. We're doing this thing called Halloween Live at Sandy Stovall, where we get a big group of people to reenact the dialogue and the sound effects and all the music for the movie Halloween, and kind of do that in this chapel. They did it last year, and it was hilarious. Just tons and tons of bands. There's one of the headliners is Van Dyke Parks, who y'all might know, he co-wrote the lyrics and the music to Brian Wilson's Smile, which was like the Lost Beach Boys album. He also did the music for The Brave Little Toaster and Popeye. Kind of like a film music guy, in addition to kind of being a general man about town. He did all the arranging for Joanna Newsom's last record, Ease, if y'all are familiar with her. And yeah, it's taking place over 6 different venues all over Athens: New Earth, Go Bar, Melting Point, Sandy Stovall, and the Botanical Gardens Chapel. And so what I want Will to tell y'all about is basically all the stuff that you might not think about when you're putting a festival together. Because putting a festival together is going to be a lot different than booking a local show. And I know if y'all are in this program, then some of y'all would be interested in doing things on that bigger level. And Will's worked with Jazz Fest for a few years and has a lot of experience on both sides of the festival circuit. Is that right? There he is. I'm starting to get comfortable up here. I'm looking at somebody else. Yeah. So I'm going to have him come over and stand where I'm standing. And hopefully y'all can ask him a couple questions and he'll tell you about this festival.
Hey y'all. Promotion for a festival, I guess we have to bridge all the stuff Mercer said with like stuff that looks enticing to everyone. And so like on a small scale we'll do stuff like handbills that I'm sure Mercer does. You can just keep those for his shows. And that's on like the engaging with people level. You know, you want to make stuff that, even if you're just hanging out with your friends, hand stuff like that.
It's hard to hand something to somebody and have them not ask you what it is, too. So
Right.
that's a good way to engage with somebody. What's this? And then you can tell them what it is.
And for us, another big thing is just the general image that is cohesive throughout the materials. And this year we were kind of trying to pick up on a lot of the Party Partners aesthetic and maintain something that seems like it all goes together. We're trying to, I guess, go higher and get with publications. We want more regional attendance rather than local. We think local people will come and be interested about it, but we really want to, because Athens is such an anomaly in booking, we want to tap into people who research music because they want to research music. So for us, it's important that we have a press agent. I tried to do it myself in the past, and with your computer, you know, you can look up email addresses for any blog or any magazine, and you're like, oh, I can contact these guys, and they'll totally write about my thing because I have all these cool bands, and I like it. But that's not really true. So it's good to have someone speaking for us. And what she'll do is act like she admires us and distribute materials to a huge list of magazines, blogs, websites, radio stations, even TV shows, and especially target ones that have written about our bands before. So she'll go through and search blog aggregators for artists that have appeared on those blogs and say, hey, we heard you like this band, maybe you'll make a post in your city about this festival because this band is playing, here's an MP3 you can put up there for us. The website acts as the second part of that. So when someone comes here, maybe they saw a post about Van Dyke Parks, and they're like, oh, I know who that is, he's amazing, but who is this? You know, so here we'll present more information about every artist. And within that, we try to get as much media on every single one as possible. We'll have image, song, and then blurb. I try to keep the dialogue for the, here I'll show you this one, for the intros as kind of, I don't know what you would say, not necessarily real, but more real than maybe just
prison fun.
saying something about it. you want it to, I want it to be exciting, but I don't want people necessarily to know what that is, because I don't want anyone to label any artist and be like, oh, he's just another singer-songwriter. He,
Yeah, that's a big part of it, is kind of putting your own voice on it. So you're not trying to talk like a press agent, you're trying to talk like yourself. So if you're going to be personally promoting these shows and trying to get people to come out to them, you're going to want to do it in your own voice. My own voice and perhaps Will's own voice is kind of maybe something somewhat a little goofier than some people. We kind of have obviously a garish presentation aesthetic that we enjoy, with lots of kind of popping colors and stuff. So it's really going to be the amount of shows that you do is going to kind of push you on the road towards learning how you want to do it. These sorts of things aren't probably going to help anybody else in this class, but it is kind of all about finding your own voice for it and just being honest. Because people, regardless of what approach you take, people can pick up on your honesty.
So other things we're doing that'll help us on a regional scale are advertisements. And when our press agent reaches out to someone, maybe they won't want to write a story about it, but maybe they have ad space we can buy or trade sponsorship for. So a big part of how we get ads in paper, since we can't say, oh, here's $1,500 cash that I saved just for your magazine, we send them something like this. And it's like a package you can just kind of pass around. There's like an intro page, you don't have to read that. But then we kind of break down levels of what we can offer someone in return for their sponsorship of our event. And with sponsorship, you want to be as direct about your needs as possible and how they apply to who you're talking to. So like I'm writing Stomp and Stammer or Paste or something, and I say, well, we're interested in 3 quarter-page ads at the value of something we're offering, which gives them, I think $1,500 is like your name on the t-shirt, your name on poster, website, and some tickets and several other things. Each level is different, but you can go to these websites, get their press package, which details how much the ad's worth, and specifically say this is what we're looking for, and you're more likely to get it that way. And then it helps. I should have started kind of at how this all comes together, but the biggest thing in this is collaboration and having a team of friends who are good at different things like design, promotion, booking, videos, sponsorship, press is absolutely essential. As much as you think you can do by yourself, it's completely impossible.
He did it by himself for 2 years.
And it didn't work, really. The shows happened and it was a success artistically, but in terms of, the goal of creating this big communal experience that it's a festival, you want people to come and stay and tell their friends and be there for multiple days. It wasn't really happening because you can't do all that stuff by yourself. And you can't speak for yourself. You can't speak for an event as an individual. It might seem appealing to some people to have a face on it. It really doesn't work that well because not everyone can relate to you as relatable as you might be as a person. So it's better to have this thing exist, outside of yourself. And a good way to do that is with friends and people like Press Agent or great web designers and things like that. Maybe if I take a few questions, I'll stop.
Let's take some questions too. If anybody has any, because we're getting kind of close on time here. If you have any specific questions, we could probably do this for about 3 hours. If you have any, don't hesitate. If you have a question specific about your team, your show, you're doing, hit them up with it. I'm saying, it doesn't have to be general questions. Go.
Could you recommend a place to print something like this?
Yeah, Belgium is great. You can see the difference between that. That's something I was going to bring up if anyone cares. And the cover sheet that just went by you, how the colors on that are more pastel and less primary than one in your hand. It's because I went to Kinko's and it was bad and I didn't have any time. But Belgium did all those. The colors came out as they were in the files I designed. So Belgine's great for that stuff, and that's another thing, you know, like if you're printing out a bunch of stuff, you might need a printing sponsorship.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. You guys have the Tate Center. Which
But
is
the,
like
I was going
cheap.
to say, the Tate Center is so cheap for printing. I've been doing all my printing there for about 5 years. Sometimes they don't even charge you for all the prints for some reason. They kind of have this weird code. I don't know how to explain it. But I would certainly, unless it's something that is a very critical job where you would need all the colors to be correct or something like that, I would definitely go with the occasional mess up at Tate Center because it's going to be about 75% cheaper than anywhere else. You can get color copies for 70 cents as opposed to $1.80. So that's great.
This is kind of related, you guys. It kind of relates to this and also to the Nucci thing that we're doing. When you're first starting something like that nobody's ever heard of, because it's the first year that you're doing, where would you suggest starting in terms of like getting your whatever you're promoting out there? Like, what is the best place to start?
Start with yourself and your friends and get everything ready before you start anything. You need to go as much as it. I don't want to say fake it to make it because you know you can't be faking it, but you don't have to have everything ready necessarily. You just have to know that you're going to do it and be willing to follow through. And go ahead and go to venues and be like, look, these are some bands I'm considering. This is what I want to do. Can we get a hold on these dates? Because you're not at any risk with a hold, you know. Get a hold on a date you're thinking of. Tell some other people about it. See if maybe you can get just like one or two people, like businesses or people behind you that have something to help you, and kind of have something to present as a, you know, as an entity. And I would say the internet, I guess.
Yeah, you can start as
Something
small as
bigger.
possible. For example, if you already know the bands that you're doing for your Nucci Space benefit, for the first one, for example, there should already be an event that you're inviting all your friends to, then you're, by turn, all the people that you're friends with that are interested in the show, getting them to invite all their friends. Basically starting that as soon as possible. Now, as soon as y'all come up with a good name, I thought, what was it? Escape the Place. Nucci Space Jam, I thought that was a good one. Nucci Main, Nucci Wawa, I was thinking about that over there. But coming up with a good name and a good kind of like graphical component is going to be really good. Now, originally when I was thinking about this, I was thinking that it was going to be every man for himself. Each show is going to be pitted against the other one. Now that if y'all are going to be kind of working together with the same name, you can actually work with momentum. You can build upon what the first show did and even try to better them. You know, if the first show did this right but didn't do this right, then you're going to try to correct their mistakes and build upon what they did that was good. And so hopefully by the end of the semester, y'all will have an event that people are going to come to because they trust it, and then you know y'all are going to be doing a good job. And if you come up with a good name, then people will do that. But since you are trying to get donations for Nucci Space and trying to raise awareness as part of the program, kind of emphasizing that would probably be really good. So using the name Nucci's, lots of double entendres there, in the name would probably be good. But yeah, just kind of just letting everybody that you know that you're in a music business class and that you need them to come to your show.
All right, we probably need to get about wrapped up. So, several quick things. I know, we're just getting going. So, before we start packing up, if you want to ask these guys some more questions, will you guys hang out at the edge of the room for a minute? So, if everybody has these questions, you can ask these guys. But if you got to dash into your class or go do something else, you can do it. Number two, we're only going to we can take a quick vote now as to whether you want to vote now on the names or whether you want to think about this and get a vote in by midnight tonight via internet. So, all in favor of voting by hand right now, raise your hand. Tom, count those votes, please. I'll count them. We'll just take a quick look. Okay, all in favor of voting right now. I know what I want to do, and I want to vote right now. We'll just see if we can get a clear number here of this. So, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, just to see a look, who wants to wait? Promoters, I think that the nows have it. What do you guys think?
The now's got it.
All right. Yes, you have one more to add there?
The series at Nucci's.
The series at Nucci's.
Might as well put his Nucci Space Jam.
So you can use all those Looney Tunes characters and Michael Jordan.
All right.
Yeah, I believe I can.
So, hold on. Before we take the vote, is there anybody else that has another name they want to add? Emma.
This isn't adding, but Nucci Nights, I was just like doodling while I was listening to their ideas. Like either the little thing off the sea or the actual sea could be turned into a moon, and it could be embrace the space, and it makes it feel like you're relaxing on a Friday night. Just listening to it.
I like that. For a second, I was fearing you were going to say spell nights with a K.
No.
That's good. That's a really good idea.
That also applies to New Season.
Hey, hold on. What does that speak up? Oh, the Nucci Space Odyssey.
Space Odyssey.
All right. How about if I'll point them and you count them? Okay. All right. We ready to vote?
Yes.
We're voting. The series at Nucci.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll read them out when I point to them. The series at Nucci's. 1. We documented this on our computer box here.
Can you vote more than once?
No. 1 vote per pick. You're ordering lunch. Pick it. You Fridays. 0. Weekend Musication 101. 0. TGIF Concert Series. 0. Do I have to say the exclamation point? Pre-game pump up! That's how you say an exclamation point. 0. Or should I say, do I have to exclaim? After school special, musication. 0. Nucci Space after school special. 0. Save the space. 1. You know, there's something to be said for people who put one hand up. I like that. Nucci Space Jam.
Are you serious?
Alright, hold on, seriously. Let's start counting. Nucci Space Jam. Let's count.
Y'all aren't going for it. Put your hands up.
Should we vote again without you guys here, though?
I don't care. I thought it was a pretty cool name. Like, yeah. It's like 40 something.
How many did you get?
It was like 44.
I had 44 as well. Yeah, we're calling this 44. Embrace the Space Friday. 1. 2. Embrace the Space. All right. He says just 1. You say Embrace the Space Friday. Can we go Embrace the Space? Embrace the Space. 2. Nights at Nucci Space. Chicken soup for the music at Nucci's. Okay, you can vote. Nucci Nights. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You count 2, Mercer.
Yeah, I'm kind of 2.
2. All right, show them up if you want that last one again. Let's get a clear count on this. 1, 2.
22.
Well, I think I got more than 22.
Once we get it down to like the final.
We're going to get it down to this last couple and vote and have a vote between those. We'll call it 22. Nucci Stock Concert Series. Post Cram Jam. Fast Time at Nucci Space.
I really like that one. That one was great. Yeah.
Working for the Weekend. Nucci Space Odyssey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we have 2 that have more than 20 votes. Neither has more than half of the entire class. So much like the runoff in the gubernatorial race, we'll have a runoff. And now we got to count these things right. Nucci Space Jam. All right, I'm going to go down the road. We're going to get an accurate count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Put your hand up, Shirley. You stretch.
Yeah.
38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. Back row, keep them up. 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 50. That's it. All right, we are Nucci Space Jam.